Welcome to this video, A Friend to the Lonely. We're diving into the heart of an essential yet often misunderstood emotion, loneliness. Loneliness, though initially challenging, is necessary for our spiritual development. Over time, I realized that the Lord uses these periods of loneliness to shape our character. These periods can be long seasons of refining, sometimes stretching beyond a year. For me, maintaining spiritual momentum was a struggle, but I knew I had to keep pressing forward. I will share more details with you shortly. I understand if this topic is difficult. Modern church culture often overlooks the struggle of loneliness, yet it is a profound reality for many believers. Psalms 37, verses 23 and 24, tell us that the Lord directs the steps of the godly and delights in every detail of their lives. Though they stumble, they will never fall, for the Lord holds them by the hand. The Lord's divine attention means that every detail of our lives is significant to Him. This ensures that we will become all that He wants us to be. Hebrews 4:14 through 16 encourages us to come boldly to the throne of our gracious God. We can receive mercy and find grace to help us when we need it most. I want to share stories of real people who experienced loneliness and isolation that ultimately led to a more productive life. They had to cope with isolation, and it wasn't easy. Adam experienced the first instance of human loneliness. God created Eve, a helper for him, demonstrating a remedy for isolation, even at the foundation of the world. Joseph endured a heart-wrenching tale of human trafficking and false imprisonment. He spent 14 years trapped in a dark hole, facing profound isolation. Moses experienced social isolation throughout his life. From being in a reed basket on the Nile to fleeing from Pharaoh, his early life was marked by solitude. Death threats sent Elijah spiraling into panic and anguish. Fleeing Jezebel's threats, he spent 40 days and nights isolated on Mount Horeb in deep despair. Both John the Baptist and John the Beloved spent time in social isolation. John the Baptist was imprisoned by Herod, enduring great hardship. Jesus endured the worst social isolation, spending 40 days alone in the desert. However, during his ministry, he often snuck away from the crowds to spend time with his Father. The man with leprosy in Matthew 8 was extremely socially isolated. Hated by society, lepers were banished to the wilderness and forbidden from entering towns. The woman with the issue of blood was ceremonially unclean due to Jewish law. She is often seen as desperate, but 12 years of bleeding and being considered unclean by society would make anyone desperate. Few individuals in the Bible had greater reasons to feel socially isolated than Jeremiah. He endured the absence of family, hatred from society, and a thankless profession. Paul probably spent more time in prison than any other Bible character. In one instance, he spent 2 years under house arrest by Rome. Isolation for 2 years is a huge challenge. Jeremiah, known as the weeping prophet, was rejected and punished by the people he ministered to. He battled sadness and wrote the Book of Lamentations. Elijah fled to a desert cave, fearing for his life from Queen Jezebel, feeling abandoned and alone. He reached a point of total despair in his isolation. The Psalms frequently express King David's feelings of loneliness. Known for his vulnerability, David wrote often about his isolation and deep emotional struggles. Anna was a widow who served in the temple, seemingly alone and with little to contribute to society. She found solace in praising the Lord, turning solitude into dedicated worship. Queen Esther lived comfortably with the king's love, but still encountered difficult times. Despite her royal status, she faced a grave crisis that required immense courage and faith. During our earthly journey, we all witnessed the global upheaval known as the COVID-19 pandemic. This season brought widespread social isolation mandates that persisted for nearly 2 years. Psalm 68 encourages us to rejoice in God's presence, for He is a father to the fatherless and defender of widows. God places the lonely in families and sets the prisoners free. Life affects each of us differently. We can be productive and active, yet still face internal struggles. We can be surrounded by people and still experience deep feelings of loneliness. Jesus offers a unique rest. He invites all who are weary and carry heavy burdens to come to Him, and He will give them rest. You will find rest for your souls in Him. Let's dive even deeper. Solitude is the primary arena for the soul. It is where we face our shadows and where divine strength is cultivated. The power of loneliness can turn the desert into a fortress. The Preacher's Outline and Sermon Bible highlights that solitude is the ultimate testing ground where great spiritual battles are won. Satan waits for the physical vulnerability of isolation to strike. He targets moments like the 40 days of fasting, when resistance is humanly low. He views your alone time as his opportunity. Jesus utilizes isolation as a counter-strategy. He eliminates every earthly distraction to create space for communion and to focus entirely on the Father. What the enemy intended as a trap, isolation, Jesus transforms into a high-ground fortress, which is solitude. This is the spiritual shift from vulnerability to victory. In our spiritual journey, isolation is a strategic environment. We must distinguish between the desert of defeat and the desert of divine preparation. The enemy sees a soldier cut off and alone in a dark, desolate canyon, perceiving it as a moment to strike. They perceive your solitude as weakness. However, the soldier is not hiding in fear. He has been sharpening his sword, using the quiet to connect with headquarters, turning the desert into a command center of absolute focus. Loneliness is the ache of an empty room, saying, "I am missing people." Solitude is the fullness of a holy room, saying, "I am occupied by God." Loneliness is the ache of an empty room, indicating an absence of people. It is a feeling of being alone and disconnected. Solitude is the divine fullness. When you are alone with God, you are never outnumbered. You are simply unhindered, experiencing the fullness of a holy room. The enemy's calculation is flawed. They think your strength is determined by who stands around you. Jesus proved that victory is decided by who is living inside you. In the wilderness, Jesus was full of the Holy Spirit before his trial began. His communion with the Father remained absolute and unbroken, even in Gethsemane. Loneliness is a weapon against you until you surrender it to the Holy Spirit. This transforms your isolation into strategic insulation, leading to ultimate victory. Solitude is where the world's noise is quiet enough to hear the exact frequency of God's voice. When you are alone with God, you are unhindered. Awareness is your first line of defense. The enemy attacks when you are physically spent and isolated. Recognize that isolation is a targeted strategy used against you. Solitude is a divine exchange. It strips away the heavy, temporary armor of the world, creating the necessary space for you to put on the armor of God. You are not alone in the desert. You are locked in the war room with the commander of heaven's armies. Jesus promised to be with us until the end. Loneliness is our weapon.